Welcome back to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. Thanks for all the likes and comments on the last video. And now let's start with the first story. It's called HR Loophole. When the small company I worked for got bought out by a much larger one, a lot of things changed. One of the biggest being our time management system. The new system wasn't too unusual, except for one major flaw. It automatically deducted a 30-minute break from your daily hours, no matter what. But here's the kicker. You couldn't manually clock out for longer breaks, without messing the system up. And I was taking longer breaks on some days, with full approval from my supervisor. This had always been common practice before, so I did the reasonable thing. I asked how I should handle this in the new system. My supervisor told me to check with HR and let them sort it out. So I did. I explained the situation and asked what the proper procedure was, now that manual clockouts weren't working as intended. And HR emailed me back, in writing, with this exact line. Don't clock out on your breaks, the system works automatic. Now, during our phone call, it sounded like what they meant was, just don't take more than 30 minutes. But that is not what they wrote. So I thanked them politely and followed their written instructions to the letter. I took long breaks every single day, sometimes 2 hours. I'd head into the city, grab some ice cream, maybe do some shopping. And the system always logged exactly 30 minutes. Because I followed HR's exact directive, all that extra time just showed up as worked hours. Before long, my overtime was piling up. So much in fact that I was regularly told to take extra days off just to keep it in check. This went on for 2.5 years. Then we were sold again. At the new company's time system, yeah, that loophole was gone. The next story is called Follow the Manual. I used to work at a retail store with an inventory system that was, well, ancient. It was slow, clunky and completely inefficient. But over time, the staff had figured out clever shortcuts that made things run smoother. Everyone except our new manager. One day she noticed I was getting through inventory checks too quickly and decided that meant I had to be skipping steps. I explained that I was following all the necessary steps, just doing them more efficiently. Didn't matter. She cut me off and said, follow the manual to the letter, no exceptions. So the next day, I did exactly that. I followed the manual to the letter. Every outdated, unnecessary, painfully slow step. I waited for every loading screen to fully refresh. Printed out pages no one needed. Chased down signatures from supervisors who didn't even know why they were signing. And refused to skip even one redundant checkbox. What usually took me 1 hour now took 4. The process backed up completely. Other departments started calling, wondering where their inventory reports were. And my manager had to step in to finish the backlog herself. After that, the manual never came up again. The third story is called All Communication. I used to be the tech lead at a mid-sized software as a service company. When a client ran into a serious issue, I'd usually jump in, fix the problem quickly, and everyone walked away happy. Then we got a new manager. He came in and made it crystal clear. All client communication must go through me, no exceptions. All right, boss. One day, one of our biggest clients experiences a production outage. They start calling, emailing, full panic mode. I already know what the problem is, and I've got the fix ready to go. But I remember the rule, so I wait. The manager is in a meeting for over 40 minutes. By the time he gets back to me, the client has already escalated the issue to our senior leadership and is threatening to cancel the contract. Later I get asked why I didn't step in. I just said, you told me not to talk to clients. Funny thing, after that the no exceptions rule disappeared. The next story is called Figure It Out. I used to work at a small print shop. My manager was almost always in a bad mood. and anytime I asked for clarification, he'd sigh like I was ruining his entire day. One Monday, I asked if I should prioritize a client's urgent order or finish a routine batch. He snapped, "Figure it out yourself, you don't need to run everything by me." Alright then. I choose to prioritize the urgent order and delayed the regular batch. Turns out that routine job I pushed back was for his friend's real estate flyers. By Wednesday he came storming in, asking why they weren't finished. I just said, "I figured it out myself, like you said." After that he started saying, "Double check with me first, just in case." The fifth story is called 30 Minutes. At one of the factories I worked at, we used to have a shift overlap system. Each shift was 8.5 hours long, with a half-hour unpaid lunch. The extra 30 minutes was for handing over to the next shift, making sure the machine's issues and production notes were all communicated properly. It worked well. Machines kept running, problems got flagged early, and downtime was minimal. Then along came a bean counter, and they did what bean counters do. They crunched the numbers and decided, we can save a ton of money if we cut that handover time. So overnight, our workday became 7.5 paid hours, and that half-hour overlap was gone. Instead, only the lead hands were expected to coordinate the shift change, even though there was way too much info for one person to handle. Next shift, I strolled onto the floor exactly at my new start time. Machines were all shut down. Operators were just standing around waiting for me, the setup operator, and the lead to sort things out. My lead came over, clearly annoyed. "Why didn't you come in early to get this moving?" I just said, "I don't work for free." Word got around. And wouldn't you know it, everyone else who used to come in early stopped too. Nobody wanted to work off the clock. Production slowed way down. Upper management started asking questions. Why is output dropping? Fingers pointed at me for starting the rebellion. But what could they do? They couldn't make us come in early for no pay. Exactly 1 week later, the schedule was changed back. Funny how quickly logic returns when profit walks out the door. The last story is called Stock System. Years ago I worked weekends at a big office supply chain. Decent job for a student. Nothing too wild. Every now and then, the store manager would ask us to do a stock take. Scan everything in the store and make sure the numbers match the computer system. Now here's the thing. We had a theft problem. A big one. And the IT system was also a mess. We'd constantly find products that weren't in the system at all. Or the system would claim we had dozens of something when we could barely find one. But the manager was a firm believer that there was no theft and the system was flawless. You could walk up to him and say, "Hey, the system says we have 37 of these giant CRT monitors. I found 3. He'd just wave it off and say, "You're not looking hard enough." Nobody leaves until the scanner matches the system. So we scanned the same 3 monitors over and over until we hit 37. If we found stuff the system said didn't exist, we hid it behind paper stacks, on top of office shelves, or just tossed it into the paper compactor. Every time we finished, the hand scanners matched the system perfectly, and we got to go home on time. A few years later, I heard the company finally did a proper external audit. They found a system claiming thousands of items were in stock, when the shelves were basically empty. Turns out the store manager got fired for falsified stock counts. Can't imagine how that happened. Thanks for watching the video to the end. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. Also, if you want to support me further, check out the channel membership or Patreon. And now, I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.